The 5, welcome to Hannity. This is a Fox News alert. Millions of Americans in Texas and now Louisiana, they're struggling to deal with the devastation that is caused by Hurricane Harvey. And of course, the media, what are they doing? Rushing to politicize a national tragedy in yet another pathetic attempt to bludgeon President Trump politically. You won't believe the latest disgusting examples of what is extreme media bias. Plus, President Trump, he goes directly to you, the American people. He's out pitching his tax reform plan to get jobs and people out of poverty and off food stamps. And also tonight, Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, he met with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. He is now saying that Assange has information the president needs to hear. Is it possible there was never any Trump-Russia collusion at all? The congressman will explain. But first, the Destroy Trump media will never let a crisis go to waste. They're now exploiting all the devastation and destruction caused by Harvey to launch yet a new attack against President Trump. That is tonight's very important opening monologue. All right, so while the media politicizes yet another tragedy, President Trump is once again, he's leading the way on this recovery effort, along with the governor and lieutenant governor of Texas and local officials, and offering his full support. Here's what the president said earlier today in Springfield, Missouri.
The citizens of Texas and the Gulf Coast need all the prayers, support, and resources our communities have to offer. Recovery will be tough, but I have seen the resilience of the American spirit firsthand all over this country. To the people of Houston and across Texas and Louisiana, we are here with you. We are with you tomorrow, and we will be with you every single day after to restore, recover, and rebuild.
Now, unfortunately, the Destroy Trump media, they won't focus on how hard the president and good politicians in Texas are working for all of these flood victims. Instead, the abusively biased press, they're stealing a page from the Democrats' playbook. And just like Chicago Mayor Rombo Deadfish Emanuel once infamously said, never let a crisis go to waste. He's talking about politics. Right now, millions of Americans are facing carnage and heartbreak caused by what may end up being the most expensive natural disaster in the history of this country. The media, seemingly, they don't care at all. They're using this as an opportunity to go after the president. Now, yesterday, the president, he traveled to Texas. He wanted to survey the damage and offer his full support. But, of course, that's not good enough for the elite left-wing media. Because, by the way, it never is. If he cured cancer, it wouldn't be enough. Now, they still found a way to twist and distort what the president's trip was about. For example, the partisan press, they tried to create a fake news controversy over the First Lady's shoes when she went aboard Marine One. How small, how petulant, how petty, how insignificant is the left in the media in this country when that's all they care about? And they're failing miserably in exposing themselves. Then they took things a step further. They tried to say that President Trump has no empathy for the victims. Now take a look at their new line of attack. We're highlighting all of the examples with our favorite ding sound again. All right, watch this.
Today, President Trump visited Texas, but he forgot to bring any empathy with him. So the president used today's hurricane coverage to promote Trump merchandise.
It was very striking that he didn't mention the number of people who have died, or even, sort of try to empathize with the fact that people are genuinely suffering.
It seems to me it's just concerned about optics. Just concerned about optics, and I wish they would be concerned about people.
I don't think that he understands the human scale of misery. I don't think that he can connect with the sort of compassion that you normally have when you see a disaster like this.
He's always calling attention to himself. He could have shown far more empathy for the people.
I would hope he has some empathy. He has trouble talking about things besides himself.
Very little in terms of empathy from this president. Very little in terms of emotion or talking directly to the people of Texas.
This is way beyond petty. This is beyond disgusting, beyond shameful, even for the Destroy Trump media. The president has no empathy for suffering Americans. Really? Now, they clearly were not paying attention to his campaign. Remember, that was based on helping Americans get out of poverty, off of food stamps. In other words, the forgotten men and women in this country that need jobs. And as we've been showing you night in and night out, this is what the media does. They always find a way, even during a tragedy, to go go after the president, try and discredit the president, delegitimize him, the First Lady, his family, his advisors, anybody that likes him and is associated with him. It just never fails, and it's why the president took to Twitter this morning to fight back and to put out his truth, which is obviously what people need to see. And he wrote, after witnessing firsthand the horror, the devastation caused by Hurricane Harvey, my heart goes out even more to the great people of Texas. Then he wrote, after reading the false reporting and even ferocious anger in some dying magazines, it does make me wonder why. All I want to do is make America great again. And then later added, Texas, Louisiana, we are with you today, we are with you tomorrow, and we will be with you every single day after to restore, recover, and rebuild. So this week, the line of attack is, oh, the president's heartless. He doesn't care about the victims. And, oh, let's pay attention to the shoes that his wife is wearing, the First Lady. And last week it was the president is unfit and unhinged. It never ends. You see, this media's shameless agenda, it just continues to be exposed. I say it's going to all boomerang back against them. They wanted from day one to damage, destroy the president with every chance they get. And if they can't find one, they'll make up a reason, regardless of what he does. And guess what? It's you, the American people. It's you, the American people, that will remain suffering. And guess what? It's not the out-of-touch, overpaid, lazy, left-wing ideologues that are my so-called colleagues. I'm embarrassed to be associated with them in the media. Now, remember, they were so wrong about the 2016 election. They also don't care about the president's agenda. We told you last week about all of the items of success. They never reported on them. Well, all the proposals that will help millions of Americans that are suffering after 8 years of failed Obama policies that they never reported on. For example, will the media cover fairly the president's tax reform pitch that he put out today? Now, here's the president from earlier explaining why America desperately needs to have tax cuts and overhaul the tax system.
I am fully committed to working with Congress to get this job done, and I don't want to be disappointed by Congress. Do you understand me? First, we need a tax code that is simple, fair, and easy to understand. Second, we need a competitive tax code that creates more jobs and higher wages for Americans. It's time to give American workers the pay raise that they've been looking for many, many years. The third principle for tax reform is a crucial one: tax relief for middle-class families. Fourth and finally, we want to bring back trillions of dollars in wealth that's parked overseas. Millions of struggling citizens will be lifted from welfare to work. They will love getting up in the morning. They will love going to their job. They will love earning a big, fat, beautiful paycheck. They will be proud again. I am asking everyone in this room and across the nation to join me in demanding nothing but the best for our nation and for our people. And if we do these things, and if we care for and support each other and love each other, then we will truly make America great again.
Now, the president, just like he's been doing for months, he's leading. He's offering solutions. Do you ever hear any of these ideas from the media? Do they want to do the same thing? Have they ever offered up ways to solve the problems of those Americans that are in trouble and suffering, or ways to make people's lives better? No, they're obsessed with tearing down a president. Russia, 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 Russia. You know, examining the president's mental state. Well, what about their Trump derangement syndrome? You know what? It's time now for Congress to get on board, get behind this tax plan that'll create jobs, pass legislation. Look at this brand new Fox poll out tonight on the issue of passing tax reform this year. 49% of registered voters said yes, it's important. 78% said it's unlikely to happen. Well, that means it's time for Congress to get to work. And wait till we show you the polls about Congress and Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell tonight. They need to pay attention and compare their poll numbers to the president, because the American people need things done. It's good for the country. It's good for those people that have been left behind. And if Congress can pass tax reform like Ronald Reagan did, it will unleash a new wave of American prosperity and millions of new jobs, and get millions of Americans off food stamps and out of poverty and back in the labor force, and a shot at the American dream. So it's time to put the country first. Congress, get busy. Time now. Joining us now is the Counselor to the President, Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne, welcome aboard.
Hi, Sean.
By the way, can you please tell the audience what kind of shoes you're wearing tonight? Because they really want to know.
I wouldn't dare because I don't engage in such petty nonsense.
Yeah, and by the way, so I just came up on my radio show today because my staff was saying, what shoes do you wear? I didn't know I had a hole in my shoe until today. I didn't know. Does anybody, this is how petty, this isn't funny when people are dying. Everything they worked their whole lives for is being destroyed.
That's right.
And this is seriously what they want to talk about? This is not funny anymore.
That was one backdrop. The other backdrop was North Korea brazenly launching a missile towards Japan, invading their sovereignty and obviously violating just general conventions of international standards. But look, your opening segment is very instructive. You basically asked the question, Sean, when will the Trump detractors, naysayers, and critics, particularly those in the media, when will it end? The question is, when will it actually matter? There's very little indication that what the media are telling Americans is important to them is actually important to them. We saw that in the campaign, and we see it now in his presidency. He does not let them stop him from pushing forward on his agenda. Today's Exhibit A of that. He went to Missouri. He went to the heart of Route 66 of Main Street America and basically said to them, we want these manufacturing jobs to come back. You deserve a pay raise. You deserve a tax cut. The instruction page for the simple form is over 240 pages long. That's the instruction page. We're spending billions of hours. We're costing millions of jobs and trillions of dollars because of this draconian, outdated tax code. And by the way, the tax code currently favors the rich. It currently favors those who can afford lobbyists, lawyers, accountants to help them figure out how to pay little to no taxes. So he went to Missouri today anyway to tell the nation, and to tell the Congress, by the way, when they get back next week, that this president is set on reforming the tax code and giving relief to middle-class families. Number one. Number two, he went to Texas yesterday. The vice president is going tomorrow, and the president will be back there and possibly Louisiana on Saturday. He's not going to allow the people in the peanut gallery who should be spending their time connecting people with information, tell them how to get diapers, pet rescue, food, medical supplies, medical care. Look at what our cabinet members are doing. They're there with the president, the vice president, instructing folks as to where they can get much needed help. And you've got the media obsessed with trying to tear down the president. I just think it's not going to work.
Let me put up another favorable opinion that came out at what, 44%. Pence's 46%. Paul Ryan got some things done in the House. Good for him. More than they've done in the Senate. Then you look at Nancy Pelosi, 31%. Schumer, 27%. Mitch McConnell, 20% and 18% in his own state. I'm hoping they're paying attention that the president remains twice as popular because he's doing his job and keeping his promises. And I think Congress needs to, get on board finally.
Well, these are data of which we're very much aware in the White House, particularly, why don't you throw up the mainstream media numbers as well? Somebody can call me and let me know when the president's approval rating gets as low as the media's approval rating and the Congresses and the parties. I mean, this is an incredibly important point because people see that he's trying to make good on his promises. He believes it's a moral imperative to get health care reform done, to get tax relief to middle-class families. And he is urging Congress, he said today, he's urging Congress to revive themselves and rescue themselves by passing tax reform. And that's really the president reminding them that they stood in the way of him, pen in hand, signing into law health care reform. You've got 29 million Americans without health insurance right now. You have 20 million who opted out of Obamacare, 6.5 million who paid a penalty, Sean, because they didn't want this great thing called Obamacare. Why is that important? It's important because you have a president who remains committed to getting it done. We're working with the governors. We're looking at the Graham-Cassidy bill. We're looking at other alternatives. And so this is a president ready to work with the Congress, but they need to come to the table, too, and get serious. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with everyone affected by Harvey. Recovery and rebuilding will take a very long time. We're acutely aware of that.
All right, Kellyanne, maybe next time I'll see you, I have a new pair of shoes, considering the country's so obsessed on the left with